Inside ETFs is coming to London on October 1st and 2nd, so joining me now is John Swallow, CEO of Inside ETFs, to discuss the event. So John, it's good to have you back in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
So first off, why London and what can we expect from this event?
Yeah, that's a great question. So why London, right? It's a financial hub when you think about Europe. It gives people the opportunity to meet with the issuers outside of the event, see clients, plus there's an entire great city to take advantage of. So London makes a lot of sense for us. What you can expect to see in 2018 is we're going to really address the issues that European investors have when it comes to ETFs. Previously, a lot of our agendas were built through the lens of a US marketplace. So we built a team here in London to specifically address the issues that ETF users have within Europe. So you'll see sessions on the platforms, you'll see sessions about demystifying ETFs, blending active and passive, things that really speak to the core of what European investors are looking for when it comes to ETFs.
Now, I know that Asset TV is a media partner, but who else is going to be participating in this event? And what other themes are you going to be exploring?
Yeah, absolutely. So from a theme standpoint, again, we want to start with education. We'll have our ETF University in the morning. We have Rob Arnott, the godfather of factor investing, coming to speak. We have Greg Davies from Oxford Risk coming to talk about behavioral finance and how you can help clients avoid some of the mistakes they make when investing. So those are some of our big name speakers. You'll see a lot of large asset owners from across Europe on our agenda as well. And as far as kind of what are the themes, like I said, one is education. We want to demystify some of the myths around it. And then we'll tackle some of the hotter trends like crypto, AI, those types of things that investors are looking to learn more and more about when it comes to building a portfolio.
What would you say differentiates the ETF landscape here in Europe as opposed to the US?
Well, I think the first thing is that it's a fractured market, right? Each country has its own exchange, where the US, everybody is kind of going into that same pool. So you see a lot of the volume happen on the one exchange, which makes the ETFs look and feel much more liquid than they may here in Europe. When the case is they still are just as liquid as the underlying securities. So that's one thing that separates Europe from the US. The other is the platforms and how people can access ETFs. A lot of the platforms don't have the back office technology yet to really facilitate ETF trading to make it super easy and nice. So that's the real big difference, is that it's just not as easy to trade an ETF as it is in the US, which I think has kind of halted maybe some people from placing that first trade into ETFs.
And in terms of popularity compared to the United States, how does, say, London stand?
Well, last year assets were up 40%, so I think you'll see assets continue to flow into ETFs. I don't know that they're going to be as popular as they are in the US. People love to tote the flag in the US that they're an ETF user. You just don't have that same kind of die-hard user here in Europe, but you do see more and more people allocating to ETFs. So the usage is on the rise, but I don't know that you'll ever have kind of that die-hard kind of flag-waving ETF user here in Europe.
So despite the issues with platforms, as you mentioned earlier, what other challenges does the industry face here?
I actually look at the industry and say that the biggest challenge is growth and gathering more assets, right? But you do see JP Morgan, you see Goldman Sachs, Fidelity, these have all launched within the past year or so. When you have big asset management firms like that coming into the space, it lets you know that there's a bright future. So as I said, the biggest challenge is really removing that hurdle of making the ETF appear difficult to trade when it's really not.
Well, finally, what do you think will be shaping the industry here in Europe moving forwards?
As far as shaping the industry, I think things like ESG, I think looking at new fixed income products will really start to change the landscape. I think in Europe, investors are more open to the idea of active ETFs than they would be in the States, let's say, as an example. So I think those things will really start to shape the industry. There's a lot of work being done on the fixed income side and exploring those indexes, and a lot of new great products coming out that are giving investors awesome tools to use when it comes to managing a fixed income portfolio.
John, thank you.
Thank you for having me.